Hi guys,
Hi guys,
the Shepherd's family,
Kenya,
where we keep it raw, real and simple, saying it as
it is.
welcome back to the next episode of our videos, talking about
The marriage disconnect.
the marriage
Disconnect.
welcome. Karibu sana.
Karibu sana. Where do you want us to start
Start
actually?
from anywhere.
I start from anywhere.
Yeah.
Where is anywhere?
Start from anywhere.
No, I'm starting from where I'm seated, but I think this is where she's calling anywhere. Well, there's so many things that we want to cover in marriage. So many things we want to cover in love. So many things we want to talk about in relationship. Today, I just want to concentrate on one thing that people usually ignore. These are people who are living together. These are people who are living in the same house. These are people who've been together for like more than a year or two. These are people who have kids or a kid. These are people who are living in the same house. These are people who sleep in the same bed. These are people who wake up each and every morning and each and every evening. Maybe I'm just talking about people who are together for a long time. Well, I know you can be married, but inaweza kuwa ni distance. We'll talk about distant relationship or marriage some other day. Today, we want to concentrate on people who are married, living in the same house, in the same place. Most of the time, they even have a kid or they have kids. And now, things start looking haywire. Things don't look as they were when they started. So this is where we are bringing this topic about marriage disconnect. It is when you disconnect.
Physically, to be precise. Let's start with physical disconnect.
Yeah, we can talk about physically.
And emotional disconnect.
You know, when you start disconnecting with someone physically,
you automatically
you start disconnecting with them emotionally. Because it is out of physicality that the emotion thing comes in. So if you're detached from your partner physically, pia kubuild emotion yake,
it will be a problem.
It will be a problem. Now, we want to look at this as a problem. When do you know there is a, when will you know that your partner is disconnected with you
and has changed from the person that they were?
What will you start looking for? Ndio anze kuona hapa kunaweza kuwa na a danger. It is not as it used to be. Well, it is very simple. It starts with the basic things. How are you before? And I love telling people what makes our present is mostly our past. Sometimes don't leave your past very far behind. It might have answers as to why your present is the way it is. Most of these things you are encountering in your present are the same things that raised flags in your past that you ignored. The simple thing that's in the past you saw and ignored, now zishaanza kuleta the marriage disconnect.
Reality has started to hit.
Tu vitu uliona kidogo ukaanza kuignore hivi, ama ukathought the same way, ama ukafikiria aka nika passing cloud katapita tu. Sasa ndio zimekuleta kwa disconnect ya marriage yako.
And you know, in marriages we say for 1 year or 2 years you're still in a honeymoon phase. So if your marriage has a problem between 1 year and 2, my friend, you're going to experience it.
What?
You've not yet experienced it. 1 year to 2 years you're supposed to be having fun, enjoying every bit of it. Hiyo ndio time yenye unajuanga hatukosanangi.
You know why? Why I want us to talk
But you can imagine there are people who are fighting at 1 year and 2 years.
Even 6 months.
Yes, they are still fighting.
You know, the problem is
hawana hiyo chemistry.
The problem is I'm sorry, I'll say this as it is. Remember our slogan, keep raw,
real and simple. Saying it as it is.
Saying it as it is.
Say it, baby.
Unapata, most of these people, the problem started with the people who are guiding them to get into the marriage. Okay?
Or even those people went into that marriage with the wrong motives.
with the wrong motive. But I think that's their own mistake. If you go in a marriage with a wrong motive, then you've started disconnecting yourself
before even you entered into
before you even start getting. I just want to think of the people who advise these people into getting to marriage. For example, before people start living together, you listen to so many people. You will listen to your pastor in the church. You will listen to your parent. You will listen to your guardians. You will listen to your friends. And you listen to counselors. These are different type of people who see things differently. When you go to a pastor, he will stick with the biblical version of how marriage should be. When you go to your parents, he'll stick with the old school type of a marriage, where women are told, vumilia mwanaume huenda akibadili. Manze tuko kwa modern world. Historia ya mwanamke sijui kukanga na jamaa. Miaka 5, 10 sijui unachapangwa, unavumilianga, uambiangi watoto wako. When you're stressed, you only share that with your women. When you go to your parents, your grandparents, wanakuambia hapana, mwanamke ni kuvumilia. Hata sisi tumefika hapo je kuvumilia. Those are gone. Hiyo ni vitu zilipita kitambo. Hii ni modern world.
Most marriages are ending. Watu wanauana juu ya hiyo. Uliambiwa uvumilie, this guy is violent, he's irresponsible, anakuchapa. Unavumilia tu ati mimi nataka kujenga nyumba yangu. Nyumba gani?
Hivyo ndio uliambiwa. Nyumba yako iliporomoka wakati anaanza kukuchapa.
Huyo anaporomosha, wewe unamsaidia kujenga. Anaporomosha, unamsaidia kujenga.
Anabomoa mawe 10. Na unajaribu unaekelea tu 2. Hiyo nyumba inaboromoka
pole pole. So it's a marriage that is successful. It starts with you and the other person. It's not about you. If you try to do it yourself, hiyo nyumba itaisimama. The man should be there, the woman should be there. You too. You're willing. And this happened. Let me tell you something. Because, okay, we've been in marriage for a few years. For a few years. And for the first 2-3 years, that's honeymoon phase. So when I listen to people telling me I've been married for 5 months, 6 months, na mimi ninataka kutoka, nime give up, sijui nini. Think about the 50 years that are coming, my friend. Please, there are things that you are supposed to kuvumilia, and there are things that you should walk out from. A man who beats you na unasema ati unafaa kuvumilia. Kwa nini asivumilia kose kukuchapa? Avumilie hiyo kichapo ndani, asikugonge. You know, women have been subjected to things. Avumilie afadhali ende agonge mawe na asikugonge. But we unagongo, wanataka uvumilie. Why should a woman build a house peke yake? The home should be built by 2 people. Yeah.
My wife may put very well. Why should you, when do you feel the pain? When do you go through it? When do you experience negativity? But the people you talk to, because you know, if the guy does not know you're negative or you're feeling negative about these things, so the guy will never know when he's wrong. And sometimes you might try to tell them, but this type of men sometimes hawataka understand. Now, wewe unaambiwa ujenge nyumba, ilhali wewe mwenyewe unabomolewa. It will be very hard for you to build a house when you yourself uko collapsed. Itakuwa very hard for you to lift a stone to build your house when you yourself hauna mikono ya kuspikia stone unataka kubuild boma yako. So before you even ask people, I was just trying to explain to them. 5 type of people will make you or destroy you. Will make your marriage or destroy your marriage. When you go to your pastor, he will guide you in the biblical version of how marriages should be. When you go to your parents, they will give you the kuvumilia way, the traditional way of mwanamke ni kuvumilia things ikuwe poa. When you go to your counselor will behave like your pastor and your parents. If they are new school, they'll clip in kidogo. But most of us, or most of the people who will guide you, will tell you so many things. What Bible says, where your parents are, you should learn from them, and blah, blah, blah. When you go to your friends, they also tell you their own version. What I want to tell you is, before you listen to your pastor, before you listen to your parent, before you listen to your counselor, before you listen to your friend, listen to yourself. Just get this from me. It is you who is getting in this marriage. Not your parents, not your pastor, not your friends.
Very true.
It is you.
The pain will be on you.
Whatever way, whatever thing you'll go through,
It's you.
it is you. So first, before you're anybody, the 4 of them or the 5 of them tells you what to
Think
do,
about yourself.
think about it yourself. What do I want? And how do I want it?
Yeah.
Because there is how you want it, there is what you want, and there's how you want it.
Yeah.
Every one of us wants you to be married.
Yeah.
Every one of us wants
Want
you to be happy. Very happy, actually.
Yeah, have a
but
very
how do you want
family.
you to have a family?
Yeah.
How do you want you to have a home? How do you want you to be happy? Now, I'm throwing this ball on you. You must decide how you want to have or to experience your relationship, your marriage.
Yeah.
When we talk about marriage disconnect, get back to the story.
Yeah.
People will disconnect with you physically first before they start detaching themselves emotionally.
Very true.
How do you know this person is disconnected with me, or he is starting to get disconnected with me?
It starts physically.
It starts physically.
Yeah.
Simple things that he used to do
He no longer does that.
that he no longer
Do
does.
them.
Yeah. Simple things. For example, I tell people openly, if you have a partner who does not hug you, not even kiss you,
Hugging.
just hugs you, a partner whom you used to embrace, and you had that feeling of belongingness.
So it's all about the simple things.
It is
not in the simple
before we
things. that
go
are
to the major
happening.
thing.
The deep things. Start with the shallow things.
These minor things are the
Kidogo,
ones
kidogo.
that crash the marriages faster than the bigger things.
Yeah.
The minor things.
Yeah.
Because this person used to hug you every time you meet him.
Mkitoka job ama mkienda job.
Ukiingia kwa hao, there was that hug
Welcome
and a
hug.
peck.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not trying to teach you a different type of marriage.
Yeah.
People love differently, but I can tell you for free, and this is something I've researched and I know. Women want these simple things. Na unapatanga wengine muna stick na ile notion ya guys, imagine uchali yangu mi afanyangi hizo vitu. Okay?
Yeah.
So na feel ni kama
Let's cut it up.
nani amefu no aholia dhitima. You know, before niende kuwasha stima stima ilipotea. Before niende kuwasha stima, I was keeping it simple. Niko nasema it is these simple things that he used to do that he is no longer doing. For example, niko nakwambia stories za kuhaga. Na try kuteach say different types of loving. Every woman, I've done my research, wants this simple thing.
Yeah.
A woman wants to feel appreciated. Anataka feel anapendwa.
Before you buy a car, treat her right with the simple things.
Simple things. The kahag in the morning before you.
Yeah.
Kama baidha nakbaki nyuma yako kidogo kana tokanga. At least kale kahag. Or akapeka kwa bed. Ile mwah baby manze naenda job, okay? Ama kana toka mbele. Asikuachange kwa bed. Just see her off. Hata kama utaenda nje juu utaki kutupa usingizi, see her off kutoka kwa mlango yenu ya bedroom. Hug her, tell her you look good.
Yeah.
Simple things. Unakaa smart, God akubless, akuprotect, akutekie care on the way. Those simple things, those are hugging. Vitu za huku juu kidogo, If you start disconnecting with your woman, kwa vitu kidogo, physically,
They won't be
like we are talking about hugging.
there. Yeah.
Unajua nasikianga wasi wakisema saa hizi, I don't love seeing people holding hands. And then some things zenye nafikiria wase wanasemanga hii mapenzi ya wazungu. Do you think those people started living before us? Do you think wazungu started loving before us? It is some things that we've put in our mind that limit us from loving our women or our people the way they should be loved.
Yeah.
It is not evil. It is not bad. It does not make you a lesser man if you feel like holding your woman's hand. She's your woman.
Yeah.
That sense of belongingness make women feel so comfortable and secure with you. You know, you listen to people saying, oh, you should not love women this way. Oh, it is a show of weakness. When sijui you hug a woman, when you bend down to propose to a woman, it's a show of weakness. Who said it's a show of weakness? If you cannot do that, stop telling other men not to do that. That's your own stuff. That's the way you think things should be done. Majority of men do the same way. Actually, I've not seen videos of men proposing. I think there's only one version of proposing. They always go down on one knee. It is all over the world. It is not only in Kenya. Then there is one person who thinks that is wrong. My friend, you're lost. Majority of men do the same thing. It is like someone trying to teach you a different thing about loving and telling you it is not good to tell a woman I love you. Yet these people who never tell their women they love you will tell someone else.
They love them.
They love them.
And they don't tell their wives.
Then you come out here and tell us a different version of something else. People are better. I want you to note this. This marriage disconnect starts physically before it gets to an emotional part. Yeah. The moment you start touching, the moment you start hugging, then you start touching. Just holding your woman's hand. Yeah. Hata kama utaki kumshika mkono kwa barabara, tu vitu tudogo, for example, munavuka barabara. Unamshika mkono, unamvukisha barabara. See it like aoni gari. It is not like she's blind. These people, women, when they come in your life, that sense of belongingness, that security and protection they feel from you, it's so important. Kumfanya kitu kama ko kanafanyanga feel, yes, I'm owned. I belong to someone. Yeah. Okay?
There are so many people who are in marriages. And let me tell you something. Okay, there are so many people who have been opening up to me. And they tell me, yes, I've been married for over 5 years. But we are just there. We are just married.
Yeah. For 5 years.
No happiness, no nothing. We are not enemies. We do not fight, but there's nothing. Nothing that makes me happy. Yani, we rarely hug. We rarely even have a time to talk. So what happened to those people first? They started disconnecting physically. They stopped touching. They stopped hugging. They stopped kissing. They stopped having sex as they used to.
Yes.
And then they start draining each other, pole pole. So munafika, you're just living.
You know, it's so funny. Yeah, it's so funny. I started by telling you, whatever reason that is making you get into the marriage should be personal. Yeah. It is your own thing. Yeah. Before you listen to the advices of the others, before you learn from the others, there's always about what you want. Yeah. First, it is you. It is what you want. Yeah. So, I'm thinking of someone who's been married for 5 years. Then there is a disconnect. Yeah. The thing that you're talking about. And then now you're in the 5th year, and there is a disconnect. Yeah. The physical. Yeah. Once the physical disconnect sets in, ikishamaliza hivyo, inaingianga emotional. Okay?
Unapata watu wanaonana kwa nyumba lakini
akunanga zeni zile we. He no longer or she no longer respects you or calls you with the name that you are used to. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. And I'm sorry to have a different version of what people say or people think. I believe we Africans can love the same way that we think is stupid when we see white men loving. Yeah. Love it's all over the world. Yeah. Love did not start with them. Yeah. Actually, love is God himself. It started with God. And no one should prove to you that he knows or she knows how to love better than you can do it. Ni sisi black people, and I'm sorry, I'm an African. Ni sisi tumejilimit when it comes to love. Yeah. We've limited ourselves. We criticize a lot. Yeah. Unaona msee ameshika dem kwa wataachana tu. Yani you never see something.
Miaka 2 3. Ikishapita 3 wanaanza kusema hiyo ni madawa.
Yeah, ni madawa. Yani it is we who have limited ourselves. Yeah. It is we who have limited how we should love each other. Yeah. It is we who have limited how we should appreciate each other. Yeah. This marriage disconnect. Just like my wife was saying. Iko so much kwa boma zetu.
Yeah, so much.
It is so much, man. You cannot believe it.
Yeah.
Hao watu unaona kwa barabara wengi, they are dead emotionally and physically.
You hear of women saying, mimi hajai niambia hata I love you. Hajai niletea maua ama chocolate. But nasikia naonanga kwa message. Kiambia wasichana na wapenda. So there's something wrong. This man, how can you tell another woman that you love them, but you don't tell your own? How do you take chocolate to other women, but you don't give your own? So that means there's something wrong.
I don't want to support men in this. Different men show love differently. But the sad part is when you show love differently to someone else. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So siwatetei sana, but it's true. Different men show love differently. There are those who will buy flowers.
Yeah.
There are those ones who will buy chocolates.
Yeah.
But now
there are those
it
who
is
will buy
so
you
bad.
cars.
If it is so bad if you have to love someone else or tell someone else or take chocolates and gifts and flowers to someone else.
You have viewers that you
and
don't
you have
do
viewers
that.
at home.
That's so bad.
Okay? So, sitaki hata kusema hiyo ni nini, not for today. We are talking about the marriage disconnect. So, tulikuwa tunaambia the physical thing. Now I'm thinking of someone who does not hug you. Someone who does not kiss you. Someone who can't even hold you. Someone who cannot caress you. I can tell you for free, the emotional part of you and him, or you and her, you and them, inakuanga bigger. Because the emotional part now, inakuanga the impact of the physical thing.
Yeah.
Nika rebound.
Yeah.
The physical thing ikidai, ina rebounding kwa the emotional part.
Yeah.
By the time now you start dying emotionally, you're dead physically. Your confidence is gone.
Yes.
Okay? Your attachment is gone. The time unaguzo hivi, you feel those goosebumps. It's no longer there.
Anakuzanga hivi akikusukuma.
Anakuzanga hivi unasikia.
And if you want to know that marriages have issues,
yes.
let me tell you something. Like they used to see us holding hands at 1 year. And ndio ujue kuna watu wako na shida kwa marriage, they would say, no dhaishi, ni saa hii tu. Wacha hata watoto wakuje uone. Atakuwa napita hivi, mwingine hivi. That is what they're experiencing.
True love holds hands even when times has gone.
Oh my God.
True love embraces.
Yeah.
Even when you've been together for 10 or 20.
Yeah.
It might not be expressive as it was before.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of people who love each other, who've loved each other for 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, at the age of 60 plus, they might not have so much of that the ka-oomph.
Yeah. And
Kenya kalikuanga young. But you still see there is joy and happiness between them. But when you can hold someone's hand, manze, do it when you can. If you are 20, alafu unaweza shikwa mikono for 30, for 30 years in marriage, my friend, you still be smiling at 50 years. Okay? Marriage is a lifetime thing. Hii si kitu ya...
It should be fun.
Yes, si kitu ya day and night.
It's not a prison.
Inafaa kuwa tamu na inafaa kuwa free. Now this marriage disconnect we are talking about, I'm thinking, how can we solve it? How can people solve it?
Now you've realized there's something wrong with you.
Kuna kitu wrong.
So, what next? You're not going to divorce this person.
You don't want to leave this person.
So how are you going to change that?
Well, there is one thing. Ita depend na how long umekaa na hii disconnect. Because inaweza kuisha pata mizizi. Anything ukishaipea time, ita grow roots. Itaanza ku get deep. Itakuwa very hard to uproot. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's why I encourage people. When you see something that you don't like with your partner or in your partner, it is always good to start talking about it early. Right away.
Yeah.
Kuna watu very difficult to understand. But always understand your man, always understand your woman. If there is something that you don't like about them, start talking about them early. Don't wait until these things that you saw, the red flags in your marriage, ukainyamazia, ikajibuild, ikapata roots, ikajichimbia chini, ikaanza saa kugrow, ikaanza kuwa very strong. Okay? Ukaignore completely. Now, you come and tell me, I am disconnected with my partner. I am not feeling this. He used to do this, he's no longer doing this. Kuna kitu imehappen hivyo. This problem starts when you start seeing things that you don't talk about. Now, how do we heal the marriage disconnect?
How do you rekindle it back?
How do you rekindle it back? If it has not taken so long, you start by pointing out
and talking it.
And you're talking about it in a lighter language. Because if kwanza ina come from the man side, inakuanga very hard on us, ukikam to us directly, kwanza in a very rough way. Siku hizi ufanyagi vile unafanya, don't do this. There is always a better way. The difference between why people change and others don't change depends with how you approach the person you're telling. It is the approach. It is how unamwambianga. Most of these things in life zinabadilikanga. Zinakuanga driven by how fast.
How did you get the message?
Uli pass aje. When do I pass?
How did you pass the message?
Men are created in a different way. Hawezi come direct kumwambia, sasa wewe ulikuwa unafanya hivi na siku hizi ufanyangi.
Naonanga watu wengine wakifanya.
When you go there and you tell a man that, when you start comparing your man to another man, already hakuna kitu atabadilika. Anakuangasha toka hapo. But I'm just trying to teach you how to say things. And I'm not talking about a man. Now naongea about a woman telling a man. Ama wewe chaliumo na kuna kitu different na wife, you go direct. Well, dear dete, sipendi vile ufanya. Don't shout. This is someone you love. Okay? Sometimes go slow on them. There are messages which come so well when passed in the right way. For example, this guy has not been hugging you. And then one morning, you wake up. When he goes to work, you're like, babe, it's been long, so you just hug me. So it's like, me sitaki kusubuliwa asubuhi. You're like, just a hug. Remember, you're in love. You're loving each other. It is not like, this is not a stranger. This is someone you get naked with. This is someone you're very free with. This is someone you open up. From outside to inside. So who says he's stranger? Who jamaa si enemy wako. You know what you loved about them in the first place. That's why you decided to spend the rest of your life with them. So the approach as to how you pass your message is also very important. We are trying to help people whose marriage imekuwa na disconnect. So the approach
in the first few years.
The first few years.
You should be enjoying every bit of your marriage.
You should
Actually, I've just noticed there are things that you can do to just rekindle your love. If you have kids, when the kids are sleeping, wacheni kwenda kulala. Achweni hapo tu. Ongeeni kidogo. Watch a movie together. Take a shower together. Yes. Take a shower together. That alone you'll start feeling something that you were not feeling. Uanze kufeel haya na ninapendanga huyu mtu. Unaona? Umeanza kufeel kitu, imeanza ku raise your emotions well. Una feel your connection. But every time you're complaining, hey watoi, by the way, nime experience hivyo sana na Nia. Sometimes una feeling you're disconnected because all of our kids, huyo ametoka shule, huyu naye anataka kunyonya, huyu anataka food. As a woman, unakaa tu. Then kama huna mwanaume anakuunderstand, things fall apart.
They start falling apart.
Yes. And I just thank God because you've been there. As in, you understand very well. So as in, disconnect, you tell me now, it's time to go out. Leave the kid and go out now. Go and have fun. Utajisahau, niko goroka. So, as a man, always understand your woman too. There are moments when women just adjust themselves. And if you don't understand that, nyinyi wawili will fall apart. There must be one someone between you two who is making it work. Huyu akianguka kidogo, muinue. When huyu ameinuliwa, huyu mwingine ako hapa chini. So every time understand your spouse. What is it that is making them change? Nini nafanya physically, as in hiyo emotional disconnect and the physical disconnect, ni nini ilianzia wapi? What happened? Is it that mama alipata mtoto? Is it that mko na newborns? Is it that mko na more than 2 kids na muna house help? It should be starting with that. Is it that your man ame lose job? Ama amekuwa so tight na job, amekuwa busy, anafikanga usiku tu analala, hamuna time Now sit down, strategize. What is it? Niwe ulipata mtoto yet. If you cannot afford to have a help, one day or another, tafuta tu mtu wa kuangalilia mtoto hata kama ni one hour ama 2 hours. Just have that bond with your partner. Unaona? It really helps to have a moment of you. Without kids, nyinyi wawili mnaanzanga kureflect, oh, this is what we've been missing.
You know what I'm thinking? When you said about people showering together, I saw someone, one of our fan, saying, but we don't have bathrooms in our houses. You don't need to have a bathroom in your house to enjoy your shower with your hubby. And it's not a must you take a shower together. A shower is just a form of example.
Yeah.
Those to things that
actually unaenda oga ukuje umungoje. It's not a must.
It's not a master shower. So nimeona client mmoja mahali kwa mind akisema na sasa wenye hatuna shower tunaweza ingia pamoja.
Nimesema umeona client.
Yani in a mind one of our fan akiniuliza what about a shower a shower and everything. Then we do not necessarily mean a shower ile ya kuingia ati pamoja jiko kwa hao. Tunamaanisha just an example there, a thing that maybe you can start doing together. I was telling people about the approach. Umemwambia kitu in a very good way. Usi enemy wako. So it is very easy for them to pick what you're telling them. Then my wife has just told you something. Aku stress venye niko nafikiria tuchimbe kidogo. When amekwambia, well, wanaweza kuwa kuna watu wamecome in. Now these kids wameleta some disconnect. Like my wife is so busy with the kids. And job yangu pia imekuwa so down na feel ni kama siko poa.
Ukikuja jioni umechoka, mimi
nimechoka. So mentally and physically umechoka. Let I tell you what we do. The simple thing that we do. We call our marriage a talking marriage. It does not care whether we are tumekosana ama nini. Okay? It is a talking marriage. So we decided, hata kama kuna shida, someone must start a conversation. Remember, sisi ndo tunajua why we are in this marriage. We are not in this marriage because, we are not in this marriage because of our parents or our friends or our pastor or a church or anything. Tuko hapa juu we made a decision to be here. Okay? So, it is about us to start a conversation when there is a disconnect or when we start realizing there is a disconnect somewhere. Okay? Na hii disconnect inaletangwa na so many things. Ikianza physically inaingianga kwa emotion. Ikiingia kwa emotion unapatanga mpaka sex. Inafika place inaanza kukufa. Na inakufa tu pole pole. And the worst part about sex in a marriage is how to start talking about it.
It's a very...
It's very hard kwanza kwambia your hubby telling the wife, oh, you know, nowadays we don't have sex without complaining. The best part of it is just know the type of the marriage you are in. Ours, the shepherds, it's a talking marriage. This does not mean that hatukosanangi. We have our lows. But we've had so many highs that when we experience 2 or 3 lows, they never break us. We just talk about them. That's why my wife was telling you, it is so bad when you don't enjoy your first 1, 2, 3 years in marriage. Then, na fight, alafu mtu anakuambia sijui ita get better as you progress. My friend, if it is not starting better, it will never be better. I always love telling people, it is the goodness of the start. Okay? When it is so, it's the goodness of the start that makes the rest of the lives better. Hii good yenye muna experience this time, it becomes so much of a ndio inakanga kaa support.
When you're having your lows.
When you're having your lows. Each and every time you're like, I know. When I talk, things zinakuanga hivi. I know when I do this, things zinakuanga hivi. So the first 1, 2, 3, 4 years, they should be your honeymoon years. So that by the 5th, 6th year, when there is some rough part in your marriage, you can only reflect on the good times of the past. So how do we help people who are experiencing a disconnect? First thing first, simple, basic things. Approach, the way you talk about what you've already realized. Secondly, openness. Learn to talk. I had a discussion somewhere. I had gone for a certain forum, and the people who had hosted me, they were women. They told me, you know, the shepherd, the problem is you want to talk, but my husband is the not talking type. Okay? And I asked them, how did they approach in the first place? So it was very hard for them because this guy did not tell you, with all due respect of wale watu wanini our this person approached you in the first place. He talked to you. How did he tell you he loves you? How did he tell you in the first place he wants to spend the rest of his life with you? So you don't tell me, bwana yangu ni wale hawaongeagi.
How did they talk?
How did they talk to you in the first place? So before you answer kusema, bwana yangu ni wale hawatakagi watu wanaongea. Haongeagi hata ukimwambia aongee. Before you get there, you should always remember how did he approach you first. So don't say aongeangi, kuna kitu ilifanya nyama. In the first place, alikuingisha kwake through talking.
And your approach will make him change.
So remind him, hey man, you used to talk to me. Hey, remember the first words you told me. Hey, remember how you used to talk to me when we were starting out. Hey, remember. So don't ever give, that's an excuse. And that's what I told them in that show. I told them, don't give me an excuse that your man does not talk. He talked to you before he got you to your place. Because you would not have followed someone blindly who talks to other people, but yet is not talking to you. So it is you to know when he stopped talking. And it is you, if he's not willing to start a conversation, always start a conversation. And don't give up on saying, siwezi ongea siku mbili halafu ni give up. Always keep on pushing the talk, the conversation. Do your conversation, it bring about some openness. If you approach him so well, or if you approach her so well, inafika place, the more you ask the question, the more itafika place, I open up. You might learn things yenye zimekuwa zimewa disconnect. It was a simple thing yenye mlikataa kuongelelea. Mlikataa, mlinyamaza tu. Kitu yenye mliignore tu. The more you try to talk, openness part inakuja. So you discuss something and you realize, oh, it was this simple. It is just talking. Ours is a talking marriage. Know your type of marriage. But mostly, when it comes to marriages, talking, openness talking, openness talking is very important. Before you go, before you go asking your friends, how do I deal with this? First sit down and ask yourself, how did it start? And
know your partner better.
Yes. Know how you will approach him. But each and every time, don't say he wronged you or she wronged you. Sometimes sisi upigana kwa hao. But I can tell you for free.
Not a physical fight.
Not physical fight. Yeah, of course, not physical fight. We have our indifferences. It is not like it's smooth sailing. Na tunawapatiana yetu the shepherds. Okay? But I can tell you for free, it is me who always starts the conversation.
I would rather die.
I
would rather goof dead than start a conversation or say sorry.
And I've already noted that in our marriage. And I already know that. So,
understand your spouse.
Nilikaa poa and nika realize every time we have a disconnect, it is not her. If I wait for her to start a conversation, we will never be happy.
Treatment the whole year.
We will stay in that house for a whole week, 2 weeks without talking. We have our fights. The emotional fights. Si uko sana kaa kapo ile. Usiona ati like tukapo dhani ati sisi yani mambo yetu yote ni shambamba. We have our arguments. Kuna time anakuanga na different approach. Anakuambia kitu na wewe unakataa, tuna argue. Na unajua ladies hawatakangi kulose. So mimi nikimwekelea hivi nimshinde anaja mingi. Na akijama anakuwa very personal. Na ananyamaza. So
anaanza tutusi.
Matusi hivi na kunirusha words za kuniudhi. So man, sometimes you just have to know that. To me, the shepherds, it is me who starts a conversation. Because at the end of it all, I am not losing her for not talking. I'm not losing her for saying, for keeping quiet. I'm not losing this marriage because my wife amejam na hawezi, I will always start that conversation and I will push it. Nikimpigia kwanza kushika simu natumanga ka SMS. Akikataa kushika natumanga kengine kwanza kumwambia patia mtoto simu nataka kuongea na yeye. Nikiona amekuwa kichwa ngumu ananionanga kwa nyumba. Na hata kama nitaingia sitajifanya siataki kuongea.
Utajifanya tuko tumekosana.
Nitaingia tu kwao niingia nimuulize sasa. Asipo respond nitamwangalia ni smile nimwambie
that's not you.
That's not lazima ushinde umebebaika kitu. Yeah. So that us this marriage disconnect.
Yeah, it's all about talking.
It is about talking.
There's nothing worse than silence treatment in the house.
Yes,
you and your spouse ati mkikosana mnanyamaziana 2 weeks. Sasa you giving a devil a chance. This man utapata na msichana amemuongelesha chup. Huyu msichana naye atapata na mtu amemuongelesha chup. That is where you start differences. If you have anything wrong, please talk.
And it's always good to know the type of people you're going to ask for advice from. It is always good. That's why we started this channel. That's why we said we'll be so raw, so real, and yet so simple. We will say it as it is. Hatuko hapa kupaka kitu fulani mafuta. Tunasema vile iko ama vile inafaa vile inafaa kuwa. Tukiendelea na the next episode. It will come.
Tutamalizia this one. Hatujamaliza the emotional disconnect. So we are going to have a second episode of this topic.
We'll continue talking. So continue telling your friends about us. Continue following. Continue subscribe.
Kama hujasubscribe, please. Please do so.
Na roho ya kuambia please.
Please do so. Yeah, bye-bye.
Anyway, bye-bye. Thank you for giving a chance to talk to you. We are so different, so real. We'll be giving things the way you want them to come to you.
All right.
The shepherds.